Hey guys, how are y'all doing? I hope everyone is doing amazing. I'm doing great too, thanks for your interest. Today, I bring yet another breakdown, but this time for i-dle's mini solo debut song, Her. It's the first time I am breaking down a solo song from one of the girls, so I don't know how this will go, but if you like it and want to see other artists here, you can let me know in the comments. In this video, you'll understand everything about Minnie's 10 personalities, and why exactly the song had to have its choreography altered after being rated 15+. I will first explain the lyrics, and then break down the music video at the end, just because it'll be easier to understand in this way.
You think I'm acting like a movie, but I'm just living my real life.
Minnie comes from a very affluent background. Her family is a fourth-generation Thai-Chinese descent. Her father is the president of Bangkok's YMCA. Her mom is a pianist and runs a high-end resort alongside her grandparents. Her uncle is a famous pianist married to a popular actress related to the last king of Lanna, a northern kingdom in Thailand. So yeah, Minnie herself does not have a royal link within the family, but is relatively connected to it. Anyway, her wealthy background granted her a very privileged life, allowing her to pursue her dream career despite the possibility of failing. This line hints at the people who called her delusional back then about trying to be a famous singer since she had everything laid out for her. So she should have chosen an easier or more common path, such as going to college or running a family business. As she chose a unique path and succeeded in it, her life unfolded into something very similar to a movie.
They call me by my name on news feeds.
Usually when famous foreign artists appear on the news or in magazines, their real names appear in between parentheses or after the artistic name. Minnie's real name is Nisha Yontararak, so this phenomenon happens whenever she appears in the media.
Now let me tell you about my bruise ouch,
Despite all the privileges and things she had through her background and now acquired with her career, her life isn't really a movie, so it holds its problems and flaws. So Minnie has a bruise, something that upsets her, and she'll tell us what it is now.
'Cause I didn't rock with all those daydreams. It's a bad time.
Minnie is tired of just daydreaming. Despite having all these privileges and the means to run after her dreams, nothing will happen unless she works hard towards it. So she's willing to push herself onto this new reality about to unveil.
New reality to make real. She might cry.
I already mentioned this somewhere, but someone in Minnie's past made her cry, and although she cries all the time, this person specifically made her cry because they doubted her ability to succeed as an artist. By making her dream happen, he'll be the one crying. I imagine this person was someone dear to Minnie, maybe a crush or a relative, because this adverse reaction is expected from many as people tend to doubt others' abilities, especially considering Minnie's situation, a solitary foreigner who didn't speak the country's language aiming to become a big artist. So yeah, I don't think Minnie would cry and keep this in her heart, unless it was someone important. She says her dream became a reality, but something else happened as it was becoming one. Her groove became empty. Groove as a noun has two meanings. The first one is a rhythmic pattern in music, which makes sense as we are talking about music here, suggesting that at first, what made her become an artist, which was her interest in music, faded due to the hardships she faced once she arrived in South Korea. The second meaning is an established routine or habit, implying that her once ordinary life completely changed, and she now has to face a lot of challenges to maybe succeed, making her feel lonely and empty. I believe the latter is what Minnie meant, as she has been influenced by music and art throughout her entire life, so I highly doubt any kind of difficulty would take that away from her. Boy can be seen as an expression, and she's just saying she'll let us into more personal details of her life in this song. It can also be a confirmation of the early theory of that person who made her cry being someone dear to her. I, again, believe it's the latter, as she continues by saying, unless I am missing something, which never happens because I am amazing. This is definitely her story about going to South Korea to become who she is today. From this point on, I will say boy/audience multiple times, but keep in mind that it's essentially the same thing. I am discerning them just because we don't know whether or not these lines are directed to the boy mentioned, or to people who behaved similarly to him.
You think you know me, I'm her.
The song is titled Her because the word her sounds like the Korean expression har, an expression of awe, pretty much like oh my god. Minnie is saying that everybody is impressed by her whenever she appears, because there are many sides to her. So when people think they know who she is and how she looks, boom, another side of hers appears. According to Minnie, the song conveys the idea she is her own source of inspiration and expresses how she feels about herself both in and out of the spotlight. Despite the image others may have of her, she has multiple sides, so what others see is often not all of her. Minnie asks which side of her made the boy or the audience fall in love with her, as she's shown many of them, so she's unsure who to be now. Following that, she answers her question and says that the one with a high ponytail is her. This is probably a reference to Minnie's iconic Fiction cover, which went super viral because of her voice and especially for her looks, so she's assuming the one who shot the audience was her. People tend to attribute others, especially artists, to an immutable and stereotypical image, for instance, shuhua, crazy and funny, which can be good or awful. As once someone has some kind of image or stereotype attributed to them, the chances of that going away are very low. The audience wants Minnie to be and act in a certain way, but she doesn't like that, so she's hurt. It can also be a reference to another iconic look of hers, the one from Put It Straight Nightmare version, which also went viral. People can't believe she won't act like others are ordering because idols are often obligated to act like fans demand, from apologizing to shallow things to wearing things fans ask. Idol is one of the few groups out there that set boundaries and are not controlled by others. With so many sides of herself, one of them will end up making you fall in love with her. No one escapes her charms. She had plenty of stuff ready for her to follow through, but she chose an asymmetric path with many hardships and prejudice laid out. And despite all of that, she managed to not only survive, but also thrive. Her promise and will to become a big artist was seen as a lie by many, but well, it wasn't one. Following these people's perspectives, she concludes that all of her lies were truthful. Minnie says her dream is different from the reality, or at least from the idea of it that so many people have. Minnie says she'll let the audience seek in themselves the truth about being an artist through this song and following it. There are sections from apparently past dialogues between her and the people who doubted her. Minnie did not even pay attention to the people trying to inflict doubts on her. She just went. A reference to the physical/mental exhaustion, and probably the actual financial costs of the process. Minnie has what people need: talent, skills, and grit. Considering that this is still about that boy I mentioned, it can also be seen as Minnie teasing him by saying that, although he doubted her, he still needs her. Minnie calls out the people who doubted her then and fantasizes about her life now. She's telling the truth about herself, about the industry, which tries to hide all the flaws and problems with beauty. This is her teasing the people, or the boy, who questioned her ability to make it big as an artist, or even make it at all. By saying her name, they automatically recognize her as an artist, as her artistic name is Minnie, and that's what most people call her. Minnie now asks for the boy's bruise, questioning what makes him so bitter and resentful for him to act this way towards her. It could be jealousy, fear, or maybe he's just a dick. That's it for the explanation of the lyrics. Now let's go for a quick music video breakdown. There are 3 Minnies, the original one dressed in white, the lovely one dressed in pink, and the chic one in red/black. The lovely and chic Minnie are watching the original one leaving the house, which is now empty. Both of them go inside the house. The lovely one enters chic Minnie's room and starts having fun with it way too much, and leaves everything a mess. Chic Minnie has no idea of what's happening until she does, and has to clean the mess, clearly unhappy and mad. Meanwhile, the original Minnie has no idea about anything. Then, chic Minnie tries to paint the lovely one, but she can't stand still, making chic Minnie reach a boiling point. As one would, chic Minnie shoots the lovely one numerous times. The original one is heading back home unhurriedly. We see lovely Minnie removing antlers from her head as she is being hunted by the chic one as if she were a deer. The lovely one doesn't die and looks for revenge. The original one is outside the house, already hearing the commotion, but not knowing details. In the end, we see the 2 Minnies fighting when the original walks in, with an annoyed expression as if it were a common situation. This is all figurative, but by connecting it to the lyrics, we can understand that these are Minnie's inner battles as an artist in this rigid industry. Which side of herself should she show? The lovely chic or her normal self? It's not that the parts of herself she chooses to show are fake. These fragments are all part of herself, but displayed in different places and times. Someone's heart and personality are way too complex to have just one image attributed to them, and Minnie doesn't like this idea. Minnie chooses to be herself, the one who shows every side of her, regardless of what people want to see or her to be. A fun thing to point out is that Soyeon said in an exclusive interview back in 2021 that she feels exactly like this, so I assume it must be a common feeling among artists. To wrap everything up, let's discuss one last thing. Why was her performance rated 15+ and had to have the choreography changed? For those who don't know what happened during Minnie's performance at M Countdown, a rated 15 logo appeared on screen when she was wearing a blindfold and disappeared when she took it off. This caused the choreography to be altered in all the other performances. Now, why on earth would it be rated 15+? Well, as unfortunate as it is, blindfolds have been associated with sexual connotations due to their use in certain media contents, such as adult entertainment or romantic contexts, and notably on Asian women fetishization. Yeah, Minnie's dance, despite having nothing inherently sexual, was banned for being seen as if it had. I know, crazy. Thank you so much for watching. It was the first time I broke down a solo song from one of the girls, so there might be more inaccuracies than usual, especially because it's not Soyeon's, but I hope you can understand more about what it is about. Thanks again.